time it is. Welcome back to the C Squared Hour, episode 2. I am Squared, he is C. Basically, we are going to give you all the answers you will ever need with little to no research. So are you ready for the second episode?
Oh, I'm locked and loaded.
Even after the first one, you're still feeling good?
I'm feeling better. I mean, the first one, I'd say I was maybe about a 7 going into that thing. I'm a 9.5 right now.
Okay. Yeah, see, I was about a... Yeah, I wish I could be a 7 anytime in life.
Definitely a 6 out of 10 on the drunk scale.
No shit.
Last week.
Yeah, that's one thing we figured out. Like, we had a little less to start this. So the beginning should be better. The end could be about the same. So
yeah.
Before we start, what are we drinking today?
Drinking Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. It's a great beer, but I got to tell you,
Chico, California.
I got to tell you a funny story about this beer in particular. I'm going to say from the years 2007 up to the last one I saw was maybe 2018. Down at my parents' house, there would be either empty bottles or full empty cases of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale out in front of their house, like sitting, like people would leave it in the lawn, they would leave it out on the sidewalk in front of the house.
I don't know. Neither your parents are really.
My parents don't drink. Right? My parents don't drink. So, and this is now my brother and I both who do drink. Neither one drink this on a regular basis. Right. And in talking to him, he said none of that was me. Somebody in the neighborhood I don't know if now I'm thinking either this is kids, maybe somebody that we grew up with,
street youths.
Yeah, street youths that we're having a good time. Just hey, we always throw it at that house, and it's their funny joke. Maybe it's someone that knows us, or maybe a guy lives down the block, gets drunk before he goes home, doesn't want his wife to know, ditches out the car, and it's always Either way, for years, for like a good decade, we were always finding either bottles or sometimes empty cases.
Nice.
Of the Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it pretty well. I went something a little harder than last time, again, just to try to avoid our issues last week.
Drink these a little slower.
Right. But yeah, no, it's pretty good.
I think we made our opinions on IPAs very clear.
I'm more of but this is a light IPA or pale ale, is as high as I'll go.
Sierra Nevada's good.
Yeah. So
I'm enjoying it.
I'm glad. So I listened to our first episode. You want to hear my opinions? I know you haven't got a chance to listen to it yet.
I do.
Okay. I do. For the quality sounds pretty decent, compared to what we're rolling with. I mean, I listen to, the actual radio shows that are doing it from home, and I don't think we sound
really
too much worse than that. So, as far as equipment wise,
think of how much money they wasted on their equipment.
No shit. That's what I'm thinking. Right. And hey, if people complain about it, we got the quarantine to blame. No, it's not
COVID bullshit.
Yeah, so I noticed that. I also noticed you have a voice of a songbird. I would listen to you read the news.
Well, thank you, Squared.
Yeah, so
that's mighty white of you to say.
And for our first episode, I only had to do like one hard cutout where, it started with one thing. I had to cut a bunch of shit out, and so we go back to, and that was really only because we got interrupted. It really had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
So, I felt pretty good about that.
Shit with the neighbors,
and just fucking. Don't get me started. But so I thought that was pretty good. The cons. When I'm drunk, I am a stumbling, bumbling idiot. I don't know if you noticed that at all. And, again, when I'm drunk, I can shut the fuck up for once in a while. Just let you go on one of your things.
Well, I haven't listened to the episode. I think you're being a little hard on yourself, buddy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a big fan of myself, so.
Hey, this is well documented.
I mean, look at me.
I'll tell you, I'm afraid to think of trying to carry this thing by myself. So, I need you.
Well, I appreciate that. That's one thing I think we're going to do is rather than having like a podcast where I think we're treating this more like a talk radio show since we're both kind of talk radio guys. Yeah. So podcasts, kind of have the. So I'll be the Opie to your Anthony, but I'll try to be actually funny. So.
Sure. Dig it.
So we like to. We don't like to, but once again, to start with the most controversial thing we're probably going to say.
Wait, we got to give an endorsement.
That's what I'm getting at. That's.
Sorry,
jump at the gun, man. Jump at the gun, man.
I fucking need you.
Jump at the gun. No, the endorsement we're doing is going to be the most controversial thing said.
Okay.
Entire episode. I think officially, C Squared endorses Limp Bizkit.
Absolutely.
So, anyone listening to this, next time Roland comes on, crank it up with the windows down. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, look, if you were born in the mid-'80s, maybe early 80s, you know what Limp Bizkit meant to white kids in the suburbs, that was our shit. Why have we gone so far? Why is Fred Durst such a clown in today's world when in '99 that guy was the shit?
See, I think we are just under the generation that isn't allowed to say they like it anymore. I think we're young. He speaks more to middle school angst than high school angst. It holds up better for people our age.
Well, musically, I think they wrote their own shit. I know they got that bass player was pretty good. I mean, they weren't fucking bad. I know the sound itself, you might not love it.
DJ Lethal. Well, here's, say what you will about their music, all right? But My Way was the theme song for WrestleMania 17.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go there. When Undertaker became the motorcycle guy, he came out to Kid Rock, the first time, like Kid Rock played live.
Yeah.
He used to ride his motorcycle out to Roland. So, that just...
Motorcycles keep rolling.
Undertaker, if you don't... if you don't like the Undertaker, I don't know.
Yeah,
this show ain't for you.
That leads us into this is definitely, we're talking sports this week.
Yeah, I'm really hurt for the whole live sports thing. The only thing I got is, I've been watching horse racing, and me being the degenerate gambler I am. Mm-hmm. Oaklawn Park not been doing me well. Remington Park I've been doing okay, so I'm not selling a kidney yet. So we got that going for me. Besides that, I've been watching just old wrestling, WWE Network.
Yeah.
So that's basically all I got, and whatever. You've come over and you see just horse racing, or
horses. I'll say the WWE. What is their content called now that they put on the WWE program? All the programming, the past.
Oh, the network.
Yeah, the network itself. You can get every main event ever.
Pretty much, yeah. No, I haven't found one you couldn't
right
get
now on your couch.
Yeah,
and I love watching the ponies. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you prefer to have wrestling when you come over here.
I do like the wrestling. Yeah,
horse racing's a little tougher when you have no skin in the game. So I get that.
Right.
I just watched the old episode where Mankind got thrown off the cage and then through the cage.
Was that Hell in a Cell?
It was. It wasn't. it wasn't officially called Hell in a Cell at that time. I forget what the pay-per-view was, but after that, they started doing a official Hell in a Cell.
The first
Right.
real cage match.
Where he got thrown off the top of the cage
and actually
through
went
a table.
It, right.
And then
finished
the second
match.
time, he went through the cage where he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you watch it, and like they're actually bringing out EMTs and shit, and I think it was I think part of it wasn't staged, like when they're like checking on him and worried about him, but yeah, then it's Mankind, so they're bringing out so he's pouring out thumbtacks and he's getting
right. He's an interesting guy. Have you heard him in interviews or podcasts?
I read his book back in the day, yeah, and I've heard him talk. He had a show on the he might still have it on the WWE Network, kind of a fake, one of those reality shows, scripted reality, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't watched any of it, but I've seen clips of it. Yeah.
Now I know if the cartoon Avatar: The Airbender,
Mm-hmm.
he voiced a character on that show. It was funny. It was the total epitome of pro wrestling. Right. It was great. He's like this big tough dude. It was awesome.
Nice. Yeah. So I mean. Yeah, so that possibly one of the greatest moments in wrestling. Just how crazy it was, and how you have Undertaker standing on top of the cage, and they had to actually like raise the cage to get the EMTs out there. But he gets halfway up the ramp and he gets off, so Undertaker's just standing there for 10 minutes.
I don't know how the kids watch wrestling today.
And
it's not the same product.
It's not, but I'm getting a little bit back into it. I kind of lost basically after Stone Cold left, I kind of left it, and
The Rock, Stone Cold,
right,
Undertaker and Kane with Paul Bearer,
right. Paul Bearer, that's not Paul Bearer. Sorry, who's the other? Paul Heyman was used to kind of do talk. Now he's the Brock Lesnar guy.
Okay,
but he's
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I always like Shawn Michaels. Back in the late 90s wrestling,
I'm
Heartbreak Kid.
I'm a pretty big fan of Chris Benoit, only his post-wrestling work. Pretty big fan of that.
Absolutely.
So, but I will say, while WWE, I think, kind of, or WWF.
Can we call it WWF? Yeah.
WWF at the time.
That's what it was.
Had kind of, better things. I don't think there's anything better in wrestling all time than NWO. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, just
right.
That I don't think there's anything better. I mean, name another thing that could get, Rodman and Malone during the finals to there,
Sure.
They took NWO.
The Big Show, Sting, were they NWO guys?
Sting was Wolfpack, and I think Kevin Nash was also Wolfpack.
Okay.
Because there's NWO, and they tried to get Sting, and then he started his own thing.
All right.
And they were the red and black, and yeah. But so I've been watching all those old like the Battle on the Beach and shit like that. I've been watching all the old stuff, all the old WCW or Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan and all.
Now, if the bars were open, would you still be hanging out?
Fuck no.
Is this what our world has come to now?
I might, now that I signed up for the 30-day trial to see what the fuck WrestleMania would look like without a crowd. But now that I'm, getting back into
it. Dude, how have we not talked about, Gronk, I guess he had his moment, and now he's re-signed in football again.
Right, yeah.
But I was excited to see Gronk, and
it was what you'd expect. It wasn't anything.
He was on the Masked Singer. I don't know if you.
My sister watched that. And I saw a bit of the episode after the Super Bowl.
So I want to say, okay, my old lady likes it.
Okay, so, whatever you say.
I will say I had Gronk pegged from the first time.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it.
Any football fan, I think, would have. Right. You knew that was.
You realize The Masked Singer is like the #1 watch show in America.
Is it?
And but basically, I think the only reason is because the people who watch The Masked Singer are the people who watch TV live nowadays. You know,
like the rest. How do you pull ratings off of Netflix? Or,
right, the rest of us are watching on-demand shit. We're watching. Yeah, the only people who are watching shit live are watching The Masked Singer.
Yeah, really, you don't have to pay for this content anymore, right?
Well, I mean, even
not that you don't have to wait. Podcast endorses illegal streaming, but
it's not even that. It's you don't have to watch this live. You know, you don't have to wait Wednesday night and flip to Fox, at 8. At 8:59, so you catch the beginning of The Masked Singer.
It's the best thing for TV. We've never had so much content going on, and in fact, the only reason that cable's important anymore is really sports.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their news online.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest reason why I have cable.
Streaming
I'm looking at changing shit up for that, but yeah, I mean live sports. I mean there's
especially if you're into baseball, hockey, stuff that's not football's easy to find.
Right. I mean you get an antenna, you can watch almost every football game you see in the.
I think college basketball, college football is pretty easy. All your local teams are definitely you're finding a way to watch. Right. But
if you're if you're a nerd like me and you have to watch everything that's going on,
and you're a big hockey guy,
right?
So and that's we're both big baseball guys. What are we moving to? I'll let you.
Well, no, it's just with sports, old wrestling and horse racing is all we got really.
The Jordan documentary. I know you said you haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it yet.
The first 4 episodes, The Last Dance.
I hear it's awesome.
Yeah. Part of it brings me back to when we were that age watching basketball, when pro basketball was still good.
When it was still pro basketball, yeah. I mean, that's just,
You haven't seen it. I don't know if people out there have seen it or not, but fucking watch it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So,
yeah, it's the same reason I am, a I think we are both a little bit, but I'm a huge Motley Crue fan.
Absolutely.
And I still haven't watched The Dirt on Netflix.
Dude, we drove like 8 hours to see the Crue live a couple years ago. So, we like the
Crue. Yeah. Well, I mean, it just worked out that we had to be, we didn't necessarily drive. We drove 8 hours home.
Right. We
drove 4 hours and then another 4 hours.
True.
To see the.
I think I had a court date.
Yes, you had a court date in Seattle, and that's why.
And then we went to Portland to see the Crue.
So both we ended up having a kind of a amazing strip club.
Oh shit!
We had amazing strip club adventures in Portland, and the first one we went to, was right across from our hotel, and then we I mean, this is good times. I need to tell the Portland story.
Well, yeah, let's start with okay. We checked into the room, and I remember when we pulled in, we saw that there was a strip club down the street.
Well, we didn't know it was across the street. Was
it across the street?
Directly? Yeah.
I just remember talking to the attendant and being like,
because it was called like Exotica or something like that. Yeah. And so we were like, that's gotta be a strip club, right? And so we were like trying to hint around to the front desk guy.
And he's like, oh yeah, well, I don't know a lot about it. I mean, I know it's like I guess I hear that it's okay on like.
No.
And then he's like, I guess sometimes I go in on Friday.
You're jumping ahead.
Am I?
That's gas station guy.
Was that gas station guy? All right, you're right.
The hotel front desk guy was, we get up there.
There was a lot of substances that weekend.
Yeah. And we were bone dry sober at this part. But we go up to the front desk guy. I'm like, hey, is that a strip club across the street? He's like, yeah, I think that's a strip club. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, do they serve booze? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And he's like, well, is it like fully nude? And then he fucking looks around, looks both ways, make sure no one's there. He's like, man, they get butt ass naked.
That's right. They get butt ass naked. And I remember we started with being like, so, could you think we could get a bite to eat over there or something?
Right. We were trying to not to look like, they get butt ass naked.
This is North Portland, not far from the airport.
Right.
Is where we were at.
Right. Basically just across the river. Like we stopped at the first hotel we saw after we crossed the river.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and so then we go to the gas station with that Asian gentleman who we were buying beer, and we were asking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, well, I don't know a lot about it. I know that like Monday nights they have like some specials, and I think on Thursdays it's ladies' night. And they do an amateur thing on Sundays.
Basically named every day of the week. He's like, that thing's pretty good. And so we we drink a bit in the hotel room and, finish a beer while we're walking, to the strip club. And the bouncer was trying not to let us in because we were drinking, all the way. But
he saw us finish beers out in the parking lot.
Right, so I can't let you in.
And we threw them in a fucking recycle bin.
Right. We were,
Jesus Christ.
So we can't let you in. I'm like, well, we're just staying across the street. We're just finish our beers. And is that your only one? I'm like, I mean, 2 or 3. Okay, you guys are good.
Yeah.
And then so we were asking, like, what are good places to go? And, he's like, yeah, I mean, just down the street's Roosters, but, you don't want to go there.
He said, they're like, you don't want to go there.
And so we walk into this place. And
no, you got to sell it better because they were talking about, first there's like, there's some spots if you want to travel downtown. They're like, but... Right. Don't go to Roosters. That's the dirtiest, greasiest strip. I'm telling you, lowlifes go in there.
Right.
So we walk away like, we're totally going down there, right? To
like 100%.
And it was within walking distance.
Right.
Even better.
And so, so we went, hung out in Exotica, and it was, a pretty good strip club, nothing to write home about, but nothing.
I've been to worse strip clubs.
I've been to better, but it's just, it's just a good strip club,
Lap dances and drinks. It was all right.
Right, yeah. And, and the best part, actually, I will say this: beer. We got $4 beers there. Like the best part about that place.
All over Portland, in fact, if you want to get into it.
But that was the best part about that place. This first strip club we hit, and it was like, wait, I'm not paying $20 for 2 beers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, you're all right then. So we walked down to Roosters.
We got enough beers at Exotica,
right?
To get it on and be like, we got to go see what's so greasy about this place.
And it was great. Well, all it was they just basically blocked out a corner of a bar. Yeah, just ran a bar. They just blocked out a corner and put a pole there, and so it was basically like just another bar table, a bar where you sit and watch, and
with one girl. And then dancing. I mean, there was just a few girls walking around.
Yeah, they had a total of 3 girls working at the time. And you see one girl's dancing, people are sitting around there. And then, it was kind of a slow night or slow forever. But if it wasn't, they fucking sat at the bar and just drank with you and hung out. Like, they were buying their own drinks. They were just
their bullshit. Idea of a lap dance was pretty much just a hand job.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you want to? All right, I'll give you an old fashioned.
Just get topless and just start rubbing your pipe.
That's what they did.
Yeah, I was like, all right. And then I almost did mushrooms.
We almost got mushrooms. Yeah.
I almost did mushrooms there. You talked me out of it.
Oh fuck! Well, we were.
Not yet.
Disclosure on the.
Not yet.
Should we?
We went back to the hotel, and did a little bit of Colombian sugar.
Did we find that, or did we bring that?
You brought it. It was kind of like
I brought it.
Like, okay. It was like I have this left over kind of thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It was and so because it was probably like less than a gram or something like that. Yeah. And so we do that, then we go back there, and the guy was trying to hook us up with mushrooms. Yeah. And you're like, dude, we can't do that. And
that's gonna lead to a bad night.
Right. Yeah, coke and mushrooms.
Coke and mushrooms.
Right. And so
LSD mix is okay with Coke.
Okay.
But
I've never mixed stuff like that. It's like, if I'm going that far into, if I'm doing that much of a drug, I'm just enjoying that drug. You know what I mean?
Sure. And that's not a bad way to go at all for anyone out there.
Right. Yeah. If you're not sure condoning yourself,
don't mix
we're not
drugs.
Condoning this.
Right.
But
this is just a weekend we had.
So we go back to the hotel and we enjoy ourselves. Then we go back to Roosters and hang out there, and that's when we got them. And
got another tug job, I think.
well, another lap dance, quote unquote. And then I think we decided we needed more Coke.
Yeah,
and so we
went
headed downtown. Yeah,
to some of the more prevalent areas of strip clubs and a little more activity.
Well, we didn't even realize it, but we just kind of found we got downtown, we found the first parking lot we can go to.
Right.
And it just happened to be right across from the strip club.
And, I mean, this is the best. So we're standing outside the strip club, and we're talking to somebody about, hey, man, do you know where we can find some blow? We're kind of, new in town. I don't remember exactly what the words were, but I remember this bouncer, this big, tough-looking guy.
Before that, real quick, we were talking to these two gentlemen. We got out of the car, and all
How
three.
do you fucking remember this night?
Oh, dude, this is fucking.
You remember details.
I did more of the. I did more of the powder than you did, so the alcohol.
That sounds about normal.
Yeah.
My man likes to go up.
So we get down there, and we go up there, and there's these three African American gentlemen.
That's right.
Not important to what we were doing, but for the next part of the story, we go up there. And you're like, hey, how you boys doing? Hey, quick question. You guys know how where? And this guy, one of the gentlemen who was on the bike, got all pissed. You can't, call us boys, and you got to watch out who you're talking to. Like, no,
Portland's such a fucking rough city,
right? And you're like, no, I call everyone boys. It's like, and so he gets on his bike and he rides off, all pissed off. And the two other black guys we're talking to, man, we don't even know that fucking guy. Like, I don't know what we're talking to. But no, we don't. No, we don't know where to find any tonight.
Portland is a very friendly city. It truly is.
Too friendly. But yeah, then we got
Then it was amongst all of that the bouncer overheard us and the conflict with the gentleman on the bike.
Screamed at us. I thought we were
right. This bouncer's hey guys, and he comes down. Yeah, we thought we were getting bounced. We thought he found out we were trying to score drugs and kick the fuck out. He's like, listen, I don't know anything about finding coke, but some of the ladies upstairs might. Just come on in, man. $10 a piece. Never had a bouncer invite me in to score. It would work.
Some of the ladies do, just go in and ask around. I'm like, yeah, fuck, all right. Well, and then, again, I had done a little more of the cocaine. And so we're walking up the stairs. I'm like, dude, I'm not okay to be here. Like, I was getting that, cocaine paranoid thing. I'm like, dude, I can't be here. And you're like, no, you're cool. Just, get a beer, get some water, just hang out. You'll be cool. So I'm like, all right. So we walk in there and I grab a beer and I'm sitting at the counter. And all of a sudden this gal walks up to me. I mean, obviously she was working there, but seemed like a polite lady. And she's like, hey, so
we have to say, I had her pegged for sociology. It's what she was working waitress school for. But I don't know.
That's what she's called in school. Which, and we'll probably get into this later, which annoys me because, if I was going to do any sort of career, like, sociology is kind of my shit. Like, I love, just kind of like, the subsections of, society and how they turn into that. And
okay, we're getting way off topic, but that's not what they do in school. That's not.
You're right, it's not, but that's what, if you really look at what sociology is, that's what it is. If you look at the definition. But so anyway, she comes out to me. She starts talking. Hey, so we have this room in the back, and it's just kind of around it.
They had us pegged for big spenders,
right? That weekend we found fucking $800 in the car. just driving to Seattle. Envelope with $800. Like, okay, this is the emergency fund.
Emergency fund. Wasn't it a couple grand? It was $800. I remember it being a little.
We went with a couple grand, and that was because
that's right. And then we found those hundreds.
It came to a couple grand. What we had, and it was probably 1,000. We had like 500. But that was just gonna be our emergency fund because we were bringing stuff for for the concert. Again, we were down there for a Motley Crue concert. Like,
this was the day before the concert.
Right. Yeah. But what we're saying is like this. this is not why we went down there. We didn't go there for vacation.
I want to spoil the surprise though, real quick, and say we spent the emergency fund.
I think the emergency fund was the T-shirts at the concert. I think we had.
I still have that shirt.
Me too. I think we had a spare change for gas to get home after going down there with like $3,000. But we so yeah, she comes up to me like, we have this room in the back. There's a bunch of lubes. There's a bucket with a bunch of lubes and lotions and things like that. So if you pay, like $40 or whatever, you can come back there and watch us and jerk off and she's like, oh, are you with him? Yeah, you can bring your friend. And I'm fucking just like I am fucking.
We both looked at each other like,
well, no, here. Further detail. So we go. No. So we go. So I'm looking down. I'm like, talk to him. And I'm freaking out. You're trying to keep me at a level because we're trying to score more drugs and everything. And so she starts talking to you, and I see her talking. I see you talking to her. And as soon as she walks away, you just look at me, just fucking dead-eyed, like, dude, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Never found more coke, but
no. At that point, it was like, fuck, let's get out of here and get to the room,
right? And just slam beers until we fall asleep. Right. Oh no! One more thing, we went back to Exotica first before we went to Roosters the second time. Oh no, coming back from Roosters before we went before we went up to the hotel room.
Yeah, we went back to.
We didn't go back there. We just saw a bunch of people hanging out because it was on our way back to our hotel room. The first time we went to Roosters, and then we were walking back to our hotel before we went the second time. There's the dude from the gas station standing outside.
That's right. We saw the dude from the gas station sitting. We were in between walking. I feel like we told that too late. That should have come earlier in the story. I forgot that until you just said it.
The best part about it was, and I don't think we did all the details to this, but the best part about it was we're walking by and you see this gentleman. I forget, I'm talking to someone else, because we tend to make a lot of friends,
right. We're friendly guys.
And, we're talking to someone else and, I get done talking to the guy and you were already talking to the guy first. And so I go, like, hey, what's up, buddy? You're like, no. Like, hey, you made it tonight. It's like, and he just looks at me and just a different Asian guy. And we're drunk with the 10 Naked Indians. So
I saw it coming. Like, no, it's not the guy. And I knew where he was going.
You already made the mistake.
I knew where he was going, yeah. Yeah. Not the same guy. This guy looks at us like, who the fuck are you? And you're like, oh, thought you were. And then you stop. Like, I'm just going to go.
And I go there. You must get this all the time. So anyway, that's our Portland story. So we'll get back to the sports thing. But now that I don't get it. Like, you piss more than anyone I've ever known. Are you diabetic or something?
Dude, I don't
anyway, he took a piss break after our Portland story. We got all wound up. That's one of our favorite stories of all time.
I thought it was a good point to fucking recollect, man.
But going back to what we were talking about, I have so bored in sports. I actually watched the first round of the draft.
Right.
I used to. Usually, you have a baseball game on. If it's we're in the Northwest, so both Mariners fans, so it's usually that.
Absolutely.
And then you just get the updates on your phone.
Do you remember Picture in a Picture?
Yeah.
Old tech, but it was good shit.
Yeah. That was. If I want to try to get deep, that was kind of the build up to the. No.
Well, I actually saw that the draft pulled record numbers this year. the
Well, I
first
can see
round.
why. I mean, it was one of the few.
Or maybe it was the second round. They saw record numbers tuned in for the second and third.
That makes sense.
Day 2, rounds 2 and 3 pulled record numbers.
Right.
It might have been.
Right. But no, I used to, have a baseball game on, or this is, it's kind of the, when hockey season's ramping up. So I'm watching the playoff push for that. And, but I actually watched the draft and kind of really, really upsets me a little bit.
What do you think of number 1, Joe Burrow?
If you're Cincinnati, you have to take him. But I'm not sold on him. If you look at what LSU had offensively last year, if you look at how many first round draft picks their offense had,
I believe they set a record for the most first round picks in 1 year from the same school.
Yeah, they may have, but and you look at Joe Burrow the year before, he was just kind of a kind of a middle of the road SEC quarterback. Nothing.
He was going to the NFL. That's
Right.
certainly not a first round pick.
Right.
He wasn't high on anyone's board.
So, nothing against the guy, and I'm certainly not an expert in scouting or anything like that, but I just, from looking at his numbers from 1 year to the other, and you look at what LSU had last year, it's a little tough to think you should sell the farm for him.
Well, and you say Cincinnati has to draft him. Do they though? And this is where I feel
he's the consensus number 1.
The consensus pick always sucks. I would like to see more clubs get together and
the last team to do it was Baker Mayfield. Like everyone said, he wasn't the first number 1 pick, and Cleveland took him.
Okay. If you went there, I'm going to say I think Baker's still. I'm not convinced that.
I'm not either.
I'm not convinced that he's not going to have an okay.
But was that the same draft with Kyler Murray?
It was.
And Lamar Jackson?
Wait, no, not Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was he was the same as Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Kyler Murray was last year, and Baker was 2018. Kyler Murray got drafted in 2019. Lamar Jackson was the same as Baker Mayfield.
And then
along with
Deshaun Watson?
Josh Rosen.
Deshaun
Watson was before that as well.
Okay.
He was like 2017.
I don't know.
Again, Watson's been a couple of years.
Little or no research.
Well, I think the Browns have had such a shit show as far as management goes and coaching. Mm-hmm. I think Baker's still got a chance. I think he's still good. They got a lot of talent on
I do too.
We'll see what he does this year.
Mm-hmm. But so
in Cincinnati and do you think there's enough? They drafted okay. They did pretty good in the draft. Outside of Burrow, they made some pretty good picks. Do you think he's got enough around him to resurrect that franchise a little?
Fuck no. Not for the next couple of years. But again, I think you have to take Joe Burrow. If everyone says he's the number 1 pick, if you don't take him, your fan base is
comes unglued.
Right.
Sure.
So you have to take. Again, he may be what he was last year.
Yeah.
But as far as for every quarterback that went in the first round, I'm not sold on any of them. Tua, I'm not sure. He looked
I'm
just as good as the other guy.
Of all of them, I think Tua's health permitting. I think he's the best choice,
and that's fair.
That's and we'll see how healthy he is. And like you say, judging quarterbacks out of college is. Look, I'm glad. And it's funny because I'll watch the draft and I'll watch college football. And I think I pick a lot of players well until it comes to quarterbacks. And I don't think anybody has quarterbacks because moving to the NFL, it's such a different ball game.
Right.
And even guys with all the talent. Personally, I think Ryan Leaf had the talent and the ability to be as good as Peyton.
Well, if I remember correctly, the first 2 weeks of his rookie season, he went nuts.
He did. He won. He won his first game in the NFL.
I thought he won both of them and had huge numbers. And I could be wrong. It just could be because my uncle had WSU season tickets. Okay. Because he was living down there. So.
It was attitude was wrong. But
I think it was there. I think injury doesn't happen, I think he may not be Peyton Manning level, but I think he has a
even with the partying and the.
I don't think that level. Maybe not as long as Peyton Manning, but I think he has a decent career.
Sure, and it's funny you see him now. You listen to him talk because he's all over talk radio, ESPN.
Yeah,
now,
ESPN hired him. Yeah,
and now he's very, he's come full circle, and obviously he's the first one to say like, yeah, I made some mistakes.
Well, he had to go to jail in Great Falls. I mean, Great Falls, Montana. If a Great Falls, Montana jail doesn't turn you around, nothing will.
Oh, going forward in the draft.
Yeah.
Let's get to some of our favorite West Coast teams.
Okay, well, I'm a 49ers fan forever. We see why they traded.
I concur. You know I love 49ers as well. I like Seahawks too.
Yeah, I see that.
It's a rough part of my side. My soul hurts.
Makes you a bitch.
Okay, first I need to explain this going forward. Listen, as a kid, Seahawks were in the AFC, 49ers were in the NFC. It was not a problem to like both. I mean, we grew up here in Washington, so I liked the Seahawks. But Joe Montana, Steve Young, those were our guys, man. So we rooted for the 49ers,
Jerry Rice, yeah. And
I didn't decide to move the Seahawks into the NFC, but when they did, I wasn't, at that point, I guess my favorite teams are in the same conference.
Yeah, and you see,
it's tough, but
when they're in the AFC, I used to go out to Cheney with my grandpa and, actually, hang out at training camp and, watch all the play, Rick Meyer, Dennis Erickson, like back, Chris Warren, those days.
Chris Warren.
And, when they moved to the NFC.
They had Kennedy back in those days.
Cortez. Yeah.
Cortez was the man.
But when they moved to the NFC, I was, my thought was, that was fun. Now I can't be a Seattle fan anymore. Not like a little bitch boy over here who.
What's wrong with a little hometown pride, man?
We're 4 hours away.
Yeah. When was the last time you went and rooted for the Spokane Shock?
Right, when was the last time? No shit, man. How many Chiefs jerseys do you own?
We have a lot of good semi-pro, I guess. Here, it's very much the WWE crowd that goes down there. But
not arena football.
So much, arena football,
right?
So the 49ers came out like bandits.
Well, they traded Buckner, and everyone thought they were batshit for it, and then they draft the best, defensive. They basically draft his replacement. So.
Well, and they did it even better. They traded down a pick. At this point, everybody thought they were going to take a tackle, so they were able to trade the pick anyway. Because Tampa wanted Tristan, the tackle they were Tampa took.
Right. Yeah.
They thought San Francisco wanted him, so they were willing to give up some draft capital to let Tampa take the tackle. San Francisco got the defensive tackle that they always wanted.
They got the guy they wanted and a fourth-round pick.
Because they knew they had Trent Williams waiting. They wanted to sign with him. He said he didn't want to go to a busted-ass team. He wanted to go to somebody. I think he wanted to go to San Francisco all along. It was a coup they really pulled. And then, they took that extra draft capital that they picked up by trading down to trade up later in the first round and pick up the wide receiver that the
Brandon
Packers wanted.
Ayuk from ASU.
Yeah, and it's tough with all there was a lot of receivers this year, and we'll see which ones really pan out. But that guy is fast, lightning quick. He could definitely get, I think, on top of a lot of defenses.
Right. And, with Kyle Shanahan's offense, the big receiver isn't necessarily what you need.
Yeah.
So, they say he kind of fits perfectly. And
sure, they've got everybody so concerned about the line of scrimmage that if you've got a guy that can get out there quick, then get open. And I guess, which is, they picked him up, they traded Marquise Goodwin. who I like Goodwin. I know he never really achieved. He had a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Even the way they were able to get somebody to trade for him.
They're talking the same thing with Dante Pettis, the guy from University of Washington. Yeah. He's looked good, but he's been injured probably 80% of his career.
But yeah, you've got all eyes on the line of scrimmage, and it allows these quick guys to really do some damage.
I wonder if people are going to get annoyed by our pauses for our beer drinking, or is that just kind of part of the charm of this show?
Look, if you're not making your own fucking pauses for beer drinking, I don't know why you're listening.
Fair point.
That's what I'm going to say.
Right. And yeah, so everyone was saying San Francisco just made out like bandits in that first round. Like everything just felt perfectly for them.
Two great players.
Right.
And they thwarted the Packers, right. Which was great. I mean, by all accounts, Green Bay was trying to make a trade with Seattle to move up, to pick up Ayuk. San Francisco jumped ahead of them.
Right.
Took the receiver, and so they drafted Aaron Rodgers' replacement, disenfranchised possibly the best quarterback in the league.
Jordan Love out of Utah State.
I think he'll hand the ball off really well.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, you look at, again, it's Utah State, so it's a little tough to,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but, Kaepernick came out of Nevada and did all right, so, for 3 years. But everyone was going batshit over that. But I didn't see...
Alex Smith came out of Utah State, too.
University of Utah. That's right. Everyone was going batshit over this, but no one went batshit when Green Bay drafted Aaron Rodgers to replace Favre. Isn't Aaron Rodgers a year older than Brett Favre was when they drafted him?
He is. One, the game was more physical back then, so
that's true.
35
Favre was more of a
in quarterback years was like,
right, and Favre was more of a physical kind of
and the guy never ever went out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes maybe to the detriment of his team. That's a whole different fucking discussion. But I also think the difference is the whole time Favre had been. The last couple of years before they drafted Rodgers, he kept teasing, I think this might be my last year. Point. This might be my last year. And finally they said, we're going to take quarterback in the first round. And I think the fact that Rodgers fell that far and they said, we have a chance to get him. I think they traded up as well in that pick.
Now, was he doing the retirement thing before he was drafted? Because if I remember correctly, it was more when they had Rodgers waiting in the wings, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to retire." No, I'm not. And so Rodgers was still backup. And then finally, they called him on his bluff and said, "All right, fuck it, retire." And then he ended up having to go to the Jets.
Sure.
So I don't know. I mean,
it's tough, but I know Rodgers.
These are all the answers with little to no research.
With little to no research. Rodgers has said he wants to play into his 40s. Guy threw for 4,000 yards last year and only 4 interceptions. Clearly, he's still at the top of his game.
Right.
I think if I'm in management in Tinseltown right now, Titletown, as they call it. Titletown, sorry.
If I'm in management in LA, I don't want to be, because that's gonna.
Yeah, sorry, I meant they call it Titletown. Is what they call themselves. I didn't make that name up. That's Green Bay shit. Either way, I would be drafting a lot of weapons around him.
That
maybe
was the thing. They made the playoffs.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs last year, and you're not drafting somebody to help them. They needed like a wide receiver.
They're drafting like they're in a rebuild,
right?
And like and all they really needed was
another weapon,
a big skill position on the offense, and I think they need to shore up their run defense a little bit.
Yeah, defensive depth. Yeah,
and what they kind of did was said, they drafted a blocking tight end, a power running back, and a new quarterback. they look to me like they said, if we can't beat the 49ers, let's just copy them. Let's just try to
Right.
maybe, hey, let's drop this bozo and, maybe this tight end will, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So
look something, I don't know.
I get it.
That's what it looked like to me because, otherwise I can't make what they're going to do. And I don't think you're ever going to. The 49ers are built in kind of a special way. And I think you're better taking Aaron Rodgers and saying, no, this new NFL, this new run game, we're going to still show an electric offense with a pocket quarterback can work.
Well, here's the thing.
You got to go that way. And
even, do you think you could get Jordan Love in the second round? Like, I didn't see, minus the teams that took the early quarterbacks, I didn't see another team clamoring to grab a quarterback.
You think that you can spend your first on a receiver and then give up
tight end, whoever,
right.
whoever's
trade up a little to go a few spots in the second, pick up Jordan Love.
Because
you're right, everyone that needed a quarterback got one in the first. Besides all of the quarterbacks in free agency right now,
right?
There's a lot.
New England's going to grab Andy Dalton.
That's you're calling it right now.
In my personal opinion,
they're not taking Cam Newton. I couldn't see Cam working with Bill Belichick.
No. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought they could have done that. And beyond that, if you look at the Seahawks, what they did, we have to know a bunch about what the Seahawks are doing, just where we live.
Right.
They take Jordan Brooks, a linebacker at 27 from Texas Tech. What the fuck are they doing?
Well, he's good, but
right.
I think he wasn't in everybody's conversation. Like a lot of the people talking about the first round weren't talking about Jordan Brooks.
Is linebacker what Seattle
and they don't need a linebacker.
Right.
I know last year they took a linebacker in the third round that showed promise. Bobby Wagner's definitely got a few years left. And he's holding down the middle of that.
Get a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, they needed. Well, but this is my one thing I'm going to say is, I think they got a great edge rusher in the second round. That late in the second round was Terrell. He's out of Tennessee. Taylor.
You're going to be.
Taylor. Taylor's his name.
Minus the first round, I didn't fucking follow shit. So
Seattle picked him up in the second round. He played great in college. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism. He's got moves. He's got a lot of bend. He can really get around the edge. Guy got hurt. He played his whole last year, his whole 2019 season on some kind of a leg injury and got operated on after the year, so he couldn't perform at the combine. And it's the only reason why.
Well, they didn't have the official combine this year.
Right.
Because of the whole Asian AIDS.
They had pro days and such.
Right, yeah, no, he didn't do anything.
He was in recovery and wasn't able to work out for anyone.
Is Asian AIDS offensive?
It did come from Asia. And according to what I read on the news and what I see online, it's killing people like AIDS.
The way we're treating it's spread like AIDS.
AIDS is kind of a general way of describing it. How do you view AIDS? If you were straight in the 90s, was it really that dangerous?
I think nowadays, with how manageable AIDS is, I think it's the same as saying like the Asian cold.
I want to say I didn't mean to offend any homosexuals.
Or AIDS patients. No, but I know where you're going with that. But yeah, I don't. And as a Niners fan, I'm kind of happy with what Seattle's doing, because what it seemed like Seattle had an issue with last year is they had a lot of great players, but none of them seemed to fit any sort of scheme.
They've got good guys, just not putting them in the right. And it ends up Russell Wilson doing his thing is what takes him as far as it does.
And that's kind of what it seemed like that linebacker was. I mean, Russell Wilson spent the bulk of the last 2 years on his face.
Yep.
So
when he's not making amazing plays, he's getting sacked for 6 yards.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
so where do you obviously edge rush was for Seattle probably the most important thing. What do you think they should have gone in the first round? Because I think the guy that they picked up late in the second, they clearly, I mean, where else could they have gone?
I think you trade up to get O-line if you're trying to do that. If not, I mean, you have 2 perennial Pro Bowlers at linebacker. You don't draft another linebacker.
Oh, that I agree with. I thought they could have gone.
I mean, you can even go receiver.
Receiver's never a bad idea. I thought in general, and they did a little of this in free agency. They picked up some guys for the line that were a little bit better pass blockers and not so much run blockers. And I think you need to recognize that Russell Wilson is what he is, and you need to gear your offense up away from the Pete Carroll run first, and you need to kind of let.
Well,
Russell
you don't have
Wilson
you don't have Lendell White and Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Respect. You don't have the NFL equivalent of those
Thunder and lightning.
Right.
No, that's and honestly, like in the NFC West, especially as difficult as that division is, because it's the best division in football. Every single one of those teams can win a game. Every single one of them on any week can beat anyone. I think.
Early prediction: if we have an NFL season this year, I see San Francisco winning it. I think Arizona.
You think Arizona takes?
I think them and Seattle are even money bet.
I'm okay
for second place.
The Rams are definitely on the down.
I don't know if they're on the down. No, I don't know. I don't think they're on the downside. I just think
still got Aaron Donald.
I think. Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff had the down year.
Right.
I'm
think
not.
That was it. Just a down year.
Yeah, but they lost. Who they lost? Cooks. And
they traded Cooks away. Gurley. They got rid of Gurley.
Right.
Unfortunately, Todd Gurley, man, he was the man. He was
until he got hurt.
Until he got hurt.
Right, and then they bring in the 40-year-old from Denver who tears it up.
So this is a little off topic. Do you think it's fair to say the NFL needs to change the structure of running backs' contracts so that they get paid early in their deals? Because running backs just don't last longer than 5 years. Then this is the way of the NFL. You draft a running back, you get 4 years on his rookie contract, he plays well, you sign him to a deal, and then in his 5th, maybe he gets a 6th year, and then that's it. That's the most they see out of running backs. 6 years anymore.
No, because
Marshawn Lynch is the last running back to exist longer than 6 years or really get out of his first contract. Marshawn Lynch was after Frank Gore.
Frank Gore's still playing.
I didn't say the first.
Frank Gore was still playing. Marshawn Lynch retired, and Frank Gore still had 2.
Well, Lynch was younger, so that's what I'm saying. Or older, sorry. Younger. Last drafted, last in the game. Fuck you.
No, you don't. You gotta.
Okay, you can name one guy that
as an agent, you have to and as an agent and a player, you have to redo how you. I don't think it's the NFL or the owner's job to say
maybe.
But I say here's what you have to negotiate. Here's how you have to negotiate now. Here's what happens. You negotiate to that.
Well, look, this is what I think you do.
Le'Veon Bell, got his money.
I guess let's see what he does. Yeah,
I mean, he got his money. If you want to talk about contracts,
what blows me, then that's a whole nother story. Why did he go to the Jets? I guess they paid him, but yeah, give me that money. You're not winning any games, and like the Jets they're a long ways off from being a win. Maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Who's that quarterback they had? The one they just drafted,
Darnold,
Sam
Darnold. He looks good. He does look okay.
He's the UCLA guy, right? No, Rosen.
Yeah, Rosen was the UCLA guy. Sam Darnold played. I can't tell you where he played his college.
I don't know.
Keep talking. I'm going to find out.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
We need a staff here. We need people to look this shit up for us.
Right. Well, I mean, hey, we're, fuck it. So, I mean, as we're coming to the end of the show, I mean...
Are we coming to the end?
Pretty much, yeah. This kind of flown by. you tell the Portland story, and you lose all sorts of time. So basically, what?
Yeah, Sam Darnold played at USC.
Okay, and Rosen was UCLA.
Yeah.
So
Rosen was the bust.
Potential.
Arizona took him number 1, and then got another number 1 next year to take Kyler Murray.
Well, they traded him away, but yeah,
after they got the next number 1 pick with him.
I will not soil a Pac-12 quarterback's name until the career is over.
I am okay with that. Out here, we love our Washington teams. Hey, let me say real quick. I just feel like running backs coming out of college, I think on their rookie contracts, I think a pay scale that is graded towards how well they perform wouldn't upset me. Only because those guys a lot of times don't make it well to their second contract, or if they do, they don't play into it. And you're talking, these guys are giving up their bodies, they're getting beat up, and you got a 30-year-old guy with blown out knees that, man, I was supposed to be something in football. But also some of these guys are guys who put up a few 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL, and guys that light it up real electric and then get hurt. Right. A few years later, and a lot of them didn't really make the kind of money that it was worth for how many tickets they sold, but how many people tuned into the broadcast to see them, how many jerseys were sold. They weren't compensated the same for the kind of level of production they put up on football.
But that's not on the league as far as those contracts go. That's not on the league. That's not on the, that's on them. That's on the...
Who's it on? It's on the player. It's on the 18-year-old kid just trying to make it to the NFL. And
right. And once you make it
to be a running back.
Once you make
maybe I should switch to receiver.
Once you make it to the NFL, then you gotta if
you're listening, tune in. I'd like to hear people's opinion on this.
Shit, yeah. C Squared Hour on both Twitter and Instagram.
This is what we need for every one of our arguments, really, is I want the internet's opinion, because this guy is always pulling these kinds of dumb shit out of his ass.
Really? You're trying to turn the NFL into a socialist party, and I'm the dumb shit?
We'll see what Twitter thinks, motherfucker.
All right. No, but I'm just saying, you don't put it up to the NFL. You make the agents get smarter about how they do it. But
hey, we're not communists, right?
They're animals anyway.
That's Godfather, by the
way. So basically, my takeaway from the draft, since this is the first time I actually watched it, and from what all the experts are saying, San Francisco and Minnesota were the big winners in the draft.
I would concur.
But even after watching everything, Kansas City, I think, back in the Super Bowl, if not winning it again.
I don't see a lot of stiff competition in the AFC anyway.
And so, yeah, you have all 22 starters. And
maybe their defense could use some work. We'll see. Maybe that unit plays a little more cohesively next year.
Right.
Yeah, I think if you're going to mention winners, we got to talk about losers. I think Green Bay. Houston, and a lot of it was because they traded away good players and didn't get the capital back.
Right.
But I think Green Bay and Houston definitely came off soft. And,
I would agree to that.
And I'd almost put Seattle. We'll see how these guys come. Like I said, I think that edge rusher looks good. They did add some edge rushers, but.
So we'll see. Anyway, that is episode number 2 of the C Squared Hour. We appreciate everyone joining. Look for an episode every Tuesday going forward from now on.
It's only going to get better from here.
Right. I mean, hey, I could definitely tell it's gotten better from, 1 week to another.
From these shoes, I'm feeling good.
Right. And I'm barely wearing any. Look for episodes every Tuesday. Follow us on both Twitter and Instagram, C Squared Hour. And, I got nothing else to add to it. What do you got? Follow us, hit us up. We've asked for numerous opinions in the show.
We did. Yeah, so, I think First of all, if you're offended by anything we said or have said, do say, tell everybody you know how offended you were. It's just how fucking awful it is. Tell your mom, tell your pastor.
Tell them to listen.
Yeah.
Tell them to listen.
Say, you got to tune into these assholes, you know. Fire up the right-wing base.
Listen to what they say. If you're offended, tell everybody to listen to what we say.
We're the left. Who do you think we offend more? I think we offended the left-wingers a little too.
On this trip, on this one, I don't know. I think we might. You know what? I
made some homo comments. Some AIDS patients comments.
Well, there's the whole Portland story. There was racial components to our Portland stories.
You are the Asian guy.
You too. Hey, fuck you, man. Fuck you.
Hey, I made that mistake. I was trying to save you some pain, man.
Well, and the whole thing, downtown Portland. But no, so you must get this all the time.
We're just gonna go. Hey, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Hit us up. If you have any... Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. If you have any beer recommendations, craft or otherwise, craft that we can get in the Northwest.
Yeah, don't give us some weird shit that we've got to fucking pay shipping of like $20 to bring it over here.
Right, exactly. No, if you have any recommendations, go ahead and hit us up. Again, on Twitter and Instagram. I don't know what we're gonna do Facebook wise. Beyond that, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you again next time.
Have a good week.